Joe Biden's ancestors came to this country as Irish immigrants. He knows better, he needs to do better, and he did break all of his campaign promises.
Oh boy, Joey, baby. When you lose the ladies on The View, you know you're in trouble, right? Sunny Hostin reacting to the news that the Biden administration was forced to reinstate President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. Here's the announcement from the Department of Homeland Security. You think they tried to bury it deep enough? Doesn't even say Remain in Mexico anywhere on it, but once again, 45 was right about immigration all along, and the courts in Texas and Arizona agreed that migrants applying for asylum have to stay in Mexico until the process is complete. You know, so they don't just vanish into the United States with the hope that they'll appear at some sort of asylum hearing someday, maybe. Former acting commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, Mark Morgan, joining me now, along with former chief of U.S. Border Patrol, Rodney Scott. Let me start with you, Mark Morgan, if I may. The Biden administration forced to comply with a policy that was working, Remain in Mexico, yet they don't want to admit that they're going to do that, do they? They'll never publish that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What's kind of interesting about that memo you referred to, and Eric, in the first line, it actually says how this is within the Immigration Nationality Act to actually implement this program. So that there's so many multiple layers of hypocrisy. And let's go back. Look, it's been clear since even before the election. They have been very adamant to end this program. One, because Trump's name was attached to it, and two, because it was one of the most effective programs we had, stemming the flow of illegal immigration and allowing individuals like Chief Rodney Scott to better secure our border. And that's exactly why they ended this program. And look, I'm a skeptic here, Eric. This memo says how they're going to start phasing this in, but they slow rolled it right now. The career politicians of political appointees, they know, though, that they can't do this any longer, or they're going to be in violation of the court order. I wish they would just get out of the way, let the career officials do this, and we would see this program have an absolute positive impact on our border.
Yeah, so Rodney Scott, I was emailed, and this was quietly. They told me they wanted their name removed. There's a border agent who said, look, I'm about to lose my job because I don't want to take the vaccine. And they showed me, sent me the whole thing. It came right from the authorities, the Biden administration authorities, saying you get the shot or you're fired. Meanwhile, we know, sir, right, that a lot of people, something like 80% of the people coming across here haven't been vaccinated. About right?
Yeah, I would say that's a stretch, probably less than that. And the vast majority are not tested, or if they are, it's after they've been released from federal custody into non-governmental agencies, their hands. And just to kind of chime in on what Mark was saying, too, the administration is really slow rolling the Remain in Mexico program rollout. I was told it's only about 125 people that are going to be subject to it initially in limited locations. At the same time, they put out a memo that they're trying to kill the whole program still anyway.
So how do they do that? Mark Morgan, let me ask you that. How do they do that if the courts have said, no, you have to keep the Remain in Mexico program that Trump had instituted, even though you tried to pull it, Biden, they put it back in? What do you mean they're going to fight it? How does that work?
Yeah, so the court order, there's some technicalities to it, right? They said one of the things they did, they violated the Administration Procedures Act in ending the program. So what the administration has done is now they're going back to try to get a second bite of the apple, as Chief Scott said, to actually end the program. I mean, look at the hypocrisy. So on one hand, they're telling the court, oh, no, we're doing the best we can to implement the program, I promise. While at the same time, they're sending memos out and fighting it and getting ready to actually terminate the program. It's just nonsensical. At the end of the day, they know that this policy worked. They've been lying to the American people about the ineffectiveness of this program, and it was, a quote, inhumane. It's just a blatant lie. Look, we saw by February of 2020, this policy alone reduced the flow of illegal immigration by almost 75 to 80% by then. And
well,
again,
Mark, they don't want that.
Back on the line.
They don't want to do that. They don't want to stop illegal immigration. They want the immigration. They want illegal immigration. Rodney Scott, am I wrong that they want these people to come over and they'll bury them and they'll hide them? They'll do these flights in the middle of the night, landing in New York and Florida, and what they're really looking for is an open border.
They're sure doing the opposite. Every policy that worked, they're getting rid of. They're basically sending out an invite, and then they're misrepresenting the Remain in Mexico program as well. They claim people were at higher risk in Mexico. I looked into some of these allegations as chief. One of the individuals that was murdered in Mexico, he was murdered by somebody that he was cheating on the guy's wife. It had nothing to do with border security at all. They clearly don't want secure borders for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, so Border Patrol agents were publicly crucified when photos came out appearing to show them whipping Haitian migrants at the border. Now the DHS Inspector General is declining to investigate. Do Biden and what is she called, the border czar Kamala Harris, owe these people an apology?
I believe that you owe them an apology. As openly as they criticize them, they should be apologizing, because they used that incident, and they knew it wasn't true from day one, to distract America from their failed immigration, their failed border security policies. And they threw those agents under the bus knowing that they did nothing wrong. They owe them an apology.
I know. I feel so bad for these agents. These guys are, your friends, your colleagues, former colleagues and colleagues are at the border trying to keep the country secure, keep us safe. And not only are they're being told not to do their job, they're also being threatened to be fired if they don't comply with some sort of vaccine mandate that they don't even require people coming across the border to do. Mark Morgan, give us a final idea, final thought on how do we solve this? I mean, we saw 200,000 people come across that border illegal. Those are the ones we caught that we know of, 200,000. Meanwhile, the same time a year ago under President Trump, the number was under 50,000. How do we fix this, my friend?
Yeah, Eric, that's a question. Look, I'm going to go a little bit step further than the chief, and I'm going to say, look, I believe that this administration is doing this by design. They see an absolute perceived political benefit by opening borders and facilitating illegal immigration. They believe every illegal alien they find a pathway to citizenship is going to equate to a Democratic vote. So let's just go with that premise right now. And although we've talked about before, 2022 and 2024 matters, we can't wait for that. So we need more states like Missouri, like Florida, and the great state of Texas to step up and to do more and to fill the gaps and the voids that's left with respect to our border security by this administration. We need more lawsuits. We need more AGs to file additional legislation and lawsuits, and we need more governors step up like Governor Abbott to do what this administration refuses to do.
Indeed, indeed. How about Governor DeSantis saying, you keep sending those illegal immigrants, those illegal aliens into my state. I'm going to send them back to you, Joe Biden, your summer Nantucket and your stupid weekends in Nantucket with your billionaire pals. Rodney Scott, Mark Morgan, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.